Welcome to God's Vibes, the faith gym for faith walkers who are done playing small and ready to live fully led. I'm Juliana Page, apostolic voice, prophetic coach, and founder of Courage Go. And this space is where you train in truth, strengthen your spirit, and walk in your kingdom identity. If you're ready to grow in boldness, break through self-doubt, and become who God says you are, this is for you. Let's dive in.
What's good, Faith Walkers? Welcome back. We're going to dive into part 2 of a teaching that we've been doing about how to be a full capacity leader in this time. In this time, in the world that we live in, we need people that can rise up, not shrink back. We need people that can speak up, not just be silent when they need to rise. We need people that know how to lean in when it's intense and have skills to bring forward what the moment requires rather than dodge accountability, ownership, and responsibility. But that will not happen if it is not formed, if it is not trained. And many people have not been training the capacity. So today we're going to talk about part 2 of what we set up and how to be the kind of leader that this season requires and why most people aren't ready for that. Okay, so most people, we'll pause real quick because this is just too exciting to not share. So some of you know, some of you experienced it, and I'm just so humbled and so grateful. But we had the launch of my book, Full Capacity, How to Live Ridiculously Free and Fuel a Life Without Limits, on Saturday, March 21st. It was a full immersion and something so special, something that we had talked about and been building for years behind the scenes, something that brought so many people together through so much of their formation work, and it was just absolutely divinely orchestrated and profound. And so we're coming off of that, trying to digest what happened, what our spirits know, but we're just still catching up with. So I wanted to share, during that, we did a couple of things. One, we released the book. So the book officially released on March 21st. So right now, I even challenge you to do that. If you feel blessed to be a blessing, a way that you can be a blessing for us over here is to go get the book for 99 cents. You can get the book for 99 cents, the Kindle version, on Amazon. So go look up Full Capacity Juliana Page, get the book, leave a review. I know that you haven't read the book yet, but if you do want to say something about your experience with me, you can do that. If you do want to share feedback in another way too, you can send it to info@julianapage.com. But you buying the book and leaving a review is immensely powerful. The book is $1, so you can absolutely do that. Buy it for somebody you love. There's also paperback versions available, but the book is available. So go get the book. It takes you a couple of seconds to do. Go get it. Make sure that you got it. Then I also made an announcement about the Full Capacity Mastermind. So I will put information to be a God's Vibes Insider below to make sure that you can be a part of that experience, because I don't want you to just have the book. I want you to walk out what's in the book. But I know a lot of times we don't walk out what's in the book because we don't have a guide. Okay. So I have made this extremely generous and extremely accessible on purpose, but that's only going to be for a limited time because we're starting very soon. We officially start on April 15th. So if you want to be a part of that, make sure that you click on all the things in the show notes. Go get the book, okay? Buy the book, leave a review. When you've started reading it, you can leave a review then. You can also just say something about your experience with me as well. But go get the book, leave a review. Also, make sure that you plug into Courage Co and click on the links to be a part of the insider list so that you get the updates and can be a part of what we're doing next, okay? So back to part 2. Most people do not miss opportunities because they lack opportunity. Like, opportunities will keep coming, just as much as we can count on gravity and change. Opportunities will come too. That's not the problem, okay? Most people miss opportunities because they haven't built the capacity to carry them, so they mishandle them, they squander them, they just do not often steward them well, okay, when it matters. So, if you listen to part one, you already know capacity is not just something that you can claim, right? Like information you can claim. People do this all the time where they claim that they're the expert, they claim that they're originator, and they actually can't back that up. Okay? But you can't do that with capacity. You can't fake it until you make it with capacity. You can either form it or not have it. That's really how it works. Like it's so blunt in that way, so clear in that way. So, capacity is something that you build, okay? And it's built in the time between seed, time, and harvest. That's where capacity is built. And you build it a day at a time, a step at a time, and a moment at a time. Every time you submit to the Spirit, you're building capacity. Every time you obey God when you have the option not to, you're building capacity. Every time you renew your mind, every time you defer and yield to the Spirit of God, you are building capacity in moments that matter. Okay? And that's how you fulfill destiny. It's not just this one big epic moment. It's all of these together. Okay? So capacity is built in time. And in this video and in this training, what we're going to do, okay, is we're going to talk you through what actually builds capacity. I've identified some things that normally we avoid, to be honest, but these are the things that actually help you build and train and practice capacity. Okay? Because if you don't understand what is forming you, you'll spend your life trying to avoid the very things that were meant to develop you because you are not viewing them correctly. Okay? And then you can't pass the test, and then you don't get the development, and then you're not ready. Okay? So most people think that leadership fuel, okay, what's going to fuel you and give you energy and empowerment and all that, they think that it looks like encouragement. And sometimes it is, right? Because encouragement is pouring courage into somebody. So that is part of it. However, as much as people think that fuel is encouragement, it's support, it's affirmation, it's momentum, it's feedback, it's outcomes, it's rewards, that could be true, okay? But those are just a type of fuel, okay? Real leadership fuel is not what people expect. It's usually not what they hope for or even what they pray for. But it is what God gives, right? Like, I prayed for blessing and God gave me patience. You're like, wait a minute. You know what I mean? It's like that. So leadership fuel, okay, often shows up disguised as pressure. All right. I often say, God, help me convert this fuel into energy you can use, because I already know this is energy that's in motion. And if I don't convert it correctly, if I don't process it correctly, it'll work against me rather than for me. And you said that you will work all things together for my good, right? So help me with you convert this into energy you can use, right? So on the flip side, we're going to talk about fuel that you don't think is actually a source of capacity. So we're going to go through the 6 sources of capacity, okay? Number 1 is pressure, right? Pressure. Pressure reveals where you're not yet developed. That's what it does. And you don't want to be exposed because you feel weak, you feel vulnerable, and you don't want people to know that. That's human, right? So it exposes where you react instead of respond. It exposes where you avoid responsibility. It exposes where you lack emotional or spiritual stability. And most people try to escape pressure as quickly as possible. We just try to like run from it, deny it, avoid it, just dodge it entirely, right? But pressure is not the enemy. It's not the enemy, right? Pressure is what shows you where growth is required. So similarly, emotions are just signals. Pressure is a signal too. It's a signal too. If you remove it too quickly, you remove the very thing that is revealing what's needed to be built. And you don't want to just do that, right? So pressure is good. This is why people say pressure is a privilege, because without it, you wouldn't build capacity. Okay? Number 2, disappointment. Whew, that didn't go the way you had in mind. That didn't go the way you planned. Disappointment. What disappointment does is it refines and hopefully purifies your motives, because sometimes we do things strictly for the outcome. We'll do it if we get what we want. We'll do it if we get this outcome. But God will ask you to do some things that don't feel good and that don't give you instant pleasure. Disappointment will refine your motives. It's going to reveal to you why you are doing something in the first place. And if that was as pure as you think it is. Were you doing it for recognition? Were you doing it for validation? Were you doing it for the outcome? This is the type of thing where you can see, I'm only going to obey God if he blesses me. I'm only going to obey God if he gives me what I desire. And if he doesn't, then he must not be a good God. That's actually immaturity, right? Or are you anchored in purpose? It's going to show that too, because when expectation collapses, right? Only what is rooted in purpose will remain. So disappointment will strip away performance, and it will strip away impurities, and it will strip away at insecurities and insufficiencies. And it will force you to decide whether you're still willing to continue or not, whether you are moving in shallow faith or deep faith. Number 3, delay. Delay. Delay is what builds endurance, like your ability to endure. Kind of the long-suffering muscle, okay? And this is where most people struggle because we want it in our timing. We want it happening when we want it to happen. Why is it taking so long? Well, I just better quit. I should stop showing up because it didn't happen on my timetable, right? Because we live in a culture that rewards speed. For what? For what? Like, why do you want to go like hard and fast in the wrong direction? That doesn't make sense, right? But leadership requires endurance. You have to endure a whole lot of discomfort for a long time without reward. And even when you get a reward, you still have to hold endurance for a long time. In many areas, right, you could be flourishing here and developing here. Like, they're not all going to be the same. So, delay will develop patience, it will develop consistency, and it will develop this long-term thinking, okay? So if everything happens quickly, you may get an opportunity, right? Just like that. But you won't have the stability to sustain it because you haven't endured enough to even know what to do with that. Like when you've seen people that have lived some life and that carry some wisdom, they know how to temper things. They don't like let it go too far left or too far right. They know how to really level it out. They've lived enough, right? They've matured. Number 4, responsibility. Most people say that they want influence, especially in this time. There's never been a time where people want more influence than now, I don't think. Most people say, though, that they want influence, but influence comes with responsibility. And so they want the influence without the responsibility. And I've seen this. I've even worked for people that got quick success because they were really good salespeople. So they just like shot up in business and made a lot of money, but then they didn't have the ability to respond well to that. They actually didn't want to be responsible. So they hired people to do their job that they haven't even figured out what their job was yet because it was all happening so quickly. And the whole business imploded. And a lot of people got hurt in the process. There was a lot of consequences to that. Influence comes with responsibility. So you can't just like scale and just remove yourself from being responsible, right? Responsibility is actually where capacity grows. So if you don't grow capacity, then you don't even have capacity to lead people that you hire. That's a problem, right? You're not a leader if you just hire people to do your job, right? You do have to lead them. You have to lead them. And so you have to lead yourself in this business first before you can really delegate it out, right? So responsibility means ownership, it means stewardship, and it means accountability. You can't delegate those things to other people. In time, you can, but you have to know fully what you're building before you can just pass it off to somebody, okay? It means you stop waiting for somebody else to fix, lead, or initiate. You do that first. And usually, especially in a new business, you're doing that longer than feels comfortable until you figure out what's really happening, okay? And you begin to carry what's been entrusted to you. This is where many people shrink back because it does get heavy and you haven't felt that kind of heavy before, right? Because responsibility feels like weight. Favor feels like weight. It's heavy. Favor is heavy. Because weight and favor build strength. They can, but you get to choose if you're going to build it or not, right? Number 5, formation. So formation is what stabilizes you. And this is where most people get stuck in what they keep calling imposter syndrome, right? Where like you just feel like an imposter because you haven't practiced this before. You're not familiar with this version of you that's now showing up, right? She's not fully formed or defined. So formation is what stabilizes you, but you have to train this identity, right? So without formation, you can achieve things externally. You can even mimic some trends and patterns that appear to be working, right? But that doesn't mean you're obeying God. So you can achieve some things externally, right? But formation will do some things. It will develop identity stability. It will develop emotional maturity. It will develop spiritual depth. Okay. And it teaches you how to stay grounded. So you're not going to lose it when things don't go your way. Even when everything around you is shifting, you are steadfast, immovable, and always abounding in the work of the Lord. Okay. And this is where you need to really be clear. Okay. We've created a culture where people say, I don't have capacity. I don't have capacity. I don't have capacity. And that's a self-fulfilling prophecy, by the way. But again, sometimes that is true. Sometimes it is. But sometimes it's not. What it actually is a lack. It's not a lack of capacity. It's a lack of formation. You haven't been doing the work to let God form you. Okay? So when you have been formed well, you don't avoid weight. You lift it. Okay? You learn how to carry it. You learn how to shift it. You learn how to be somebody that knows what to do with weight. You're not surprised by it. Okay? So alignment then is what multiplies capacity. Okay? Because not all exhaustion is coming from doing too much. It's not. Sometimes it's from doing the wrong things. Okay? Alignment is the right assignments. It's the right rhythms. It's the right daily disciplines. It's the right people. It's the right time, the right season. Okay? So when those things are aligned, it's a set time. Okay, it's a due season. And your energy shifts not because life is easier, but because it's clearer and it's cleaner in that way. It's not confusing. You're aligned, you're in sync, you're in step. So the leadership standard here, we're going for healthy versus toxic. We need to know the difference. This is why all of this matters, okay? Because leadership begins with formation. And leadership without formation is dangerous. It is destructive. It is harmful. It is toxic. It's not good. It's divisive. It's so many things. So toxic leadership is not always obvious, especially in the beginning, because usually toxic leaders can give you a good presentation and give you a good show, right? Because man looks at the outward appearance, but God looks at the heart. So people can do a great sales job, but that doesn't mean they embody any of it, okay? Or that any of that they're talking about is integrated into their being, or that that's who they are. They just know how to talk a good talk, right? Not walk the walk. So toxic leadership isn't always obvious. That's why we absolutely need wisdom and discernment in this time, and we have to be doing our own work, because something amazing about letting God form his nature in you is that you can discern what his nature is and what is not so much quicker because you're doing the work. You can sense it, right? So sometimes toxic leadership can come from insecurity. Leaders who react under pressure, they lead from fear, they need constant validation, they project their internal stability onto other people, okay? And when those leaders gain influence, people get hurt. You're not a good leader if you bring your codependency into the workplace. You're not a good leader if you manipulate and control, right? That's not good leadership. But if you haven't dealt with some of these things, you do bring them into your leadership, because leadership is just an extension of who you're being and what you've trained, okay? So healthy leadership and healthy leaders are different. Thank the Lord, right? They know how to carry weight without collapsing, without dumping and projecting that on other people. They know how to carry weight without completely collapsing. They know how to face pressure without transferring that to other people. They don't lead from insecurity, doubt, and fear. They don't. Those are choices, those are options, but they don't partner with that. They don't agree with that. They don't lead from that. They don't tolerate it, right? They lead from courage, from faith, from self-mastery. And those things are not automatic. They are built. They are practiced. They are trained. Okay? So the world does not just need more leaders. It needs more leaders who are safe to follow. And I would just challenge you right now to ask that. Are you safe to follow? Do you trust you? Are you submitted to the Spirit of God? How is your prayer life? How is your dependency on the Lord? All really great questions worth answering with the Spirit of God. So I just want to clarify the weight of this season, because my book, Full Capacity, is meant to be a powerful tool to help you in this season. The weight of the season, this is not an easy season, and we were never called to easy. If you were alive in this time, you were not called to easy. You weren't, and your life probably has not been easy up to this point, right? This is not easy leadership. It's just not. It's not, right? This is not easy ministry. Like, being an ambassador is not easy business. You got to mind your own business, meaning you have to renew your mind. You have to process your emotions. You have to look at your heart. You have to look at all of the unloving things inside of you and see where you're impure. You're not pure of heart. And if you're not pure of heart, you're not able to use wisdom and discernment. You're not as sensitive to those, so you can't distinguish the nuances of different scenarios and situations. Okay? This is a time that requires people who are mature, who are resilient, who are discerning, and who are steady. Now, that's not sexy, but it is impactful. That's not like a shiny post, but it's deep, and it's profound, and it's transformative. And you got to sometimes get off the sugar and get on some meat. You got to get off the stuff that will just rot your teeth out and sink your teeth into what will actually help you. You got to go on from milk and shift into solid food. You have to go on to maturity, because people that do this work can bend without breaking, kind of the palm tree, right? But if you can't bend, right, you will break, because storms will come, challenges will come, absolutely, right? But if you haven't learned how to steward yourself well, you won't steward anything that's entrusted to you well. You will mishandle opportunities, relationships, and assignments that are requiring a different kind of leader. We need different kind of leaders in this time. And that's not going to be random. That will be the people who do practice, who do train, who do mature. And they don't do it for outcome. They don't do it for approval. They don't do it for applause. Because a lot of this work never gets that. They do it for the Lord, because they do everything as unto the Lord, and they are living for an audience of one, number one, okay? They want to go for well done, my good and faithful servant, and they want to be obedient, okay? So sometimes we miss the moment because it was too much, right? But sometimes we miss the moment because we had been mishandling ourselves all along. And that is something that we can control, okay? So let's bring this full circle. This is why the principle still matters. Seed, time, harvest. Most of leadership is built in the time part, okay? Not when everything is visible, not when everything is working, not when people are supporting you, right, and have your back. Nope, you might have no support and feel like no one has your back. Leadership is built in time, and it's built when things are being formed internally that nobody ever sees, okay? So here's the reflection for you. Where are you right now? Seed, time, harvest, okay? Where are you right now? And you might be in many areas, in different areas of your life, okay? Are you planting seed? God gives seed to the sower. Are you sowing the seed he's giving you? Time, resource, energy. Are you sowing what he's given you? Are you in the time of formation? Are you beginning to see harvest? And more importantly, are you resisting the very thing that's designed to build you into who God wants to form, shape, and anoint you to be? Full capacity leadership is not about doing more and being impressive. It's not about that at all. It's about becoming somebody who can carry more and glorify God in all they think, say, and do, especially in moments that really, really count. Okay? So if this resonated with you, I want to encourage you to do a couple things. One, go get the book Full Capacity. Okay? It is available on Amazon for a limited time. You can get the book for $1. So do go do that and leave a review, please and thank you. Spread the message. That's one of the best ways that you can support locally or from afar. And then also make sure that you plug into the God's Vibes Insider so you get information on this next opportunity of bringing the book to life. We are going to be doing this formation training together. We're going to be doing the book study together so that you don't have to walk this book out alone. And there's so much that you could miss without this kind of evolving live journey. So you're invited to be a part of that. We are officially going to start a formation journey on April 15th. So I've got all the details going out to the insider. So make sure that you're a God's Vibes Insider and you can plug into that journey with us. Okay? This is so powerful. And I really just encourage you to be a leader worth following. Even if you didn't have one, decide to be that one. Okay? All right, y'all. I hope this message blessed you. And until next time, stay blessed.
If today's episode encouraged your spirit, share it and leave a review so that other faith walkers can find their way home. And if you're ready for mentorship, activation, and community, join us inside Courage Co. It's just $20 a month to walk with us. You can access it at www.courageco.org.